Microphone check. Ladies and gentlemen, we are live, the Coffee and Biscotti Show. I'm your host, Coach, or Crew Melbellissimo. It is 12 o'clock Eastern Daylight Savings Time. It is Friday, March the 18th. And listen, I'm going to start off by telling you guys right away, without wasting any time, in this mug is Neo-Citrin. If you guys know what Neo-Citrin is, this is because I'm starting to sound a little bit like Mickey Mouse. And, well, this is the way it's going to be today, my friends. This is the way it's going to be. Want to send a little love to Franny in the house. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. How is everybody? The Nicole Ruth. Welcome to the show. We have a doozy of a show, my friends. Nice to have you all here with us. So I'm going to tell you what happened. Essentially what happened, my friends, is that we had a major cancellation a couple days ago. I love you, Franny. I love you, girl. Blowing kisses your way. So we had a cancellation. And what happened was, thank you. Get well soon. I'm telling you, man, like seriously. This is Neo-Citrin in this cup. And if you don't hear my voice, I'm starting to sound like Mickey Mouse. So we had a cancellation. What happened was that this week on Wednesday, this past week, we finished a 9-week vision board deep dive, a mastermind. And I don't even have the words. All I can say is Wednesday, there were tears. Tears of joy and tears of sadness. Joy because these 6 amazing human beings had so much transformation in 9 weeks. I can't tell you, guys, that if I could get you to spend 9 weeks with me for 2 hours a week, and I become your accountability and clarity coach, I promise you, those goals that you've set for yourself, that you said that, you can't achieve because there's something stopping you. I was going to put a post up today after the show and say, I want you to tell me one goal. So if you're in the chat right now and you feel comfortable, I want you to share with me one goal that you have that you haven't been able to achieve because of whatever reason, lack of discipline, the funds. It could be a goal around relationships. It could be a goal around your tribe or social. Well, whatever it is, I want you to start thinking about a goal that you've set for yourself that you've been having trouble achieving. Vera, if you're in here, welcome to the show. I'm so excited that you are here. Thank you, Franny. You're always so sweet. And then I want to say hello to Kaylee C. I'm terrible at this, eh? Kaylee C. of Anarchy. Welcome. I want to be a big Twitch streamer. Do it. Raging Dio Knight. And there she is, Vera. Hello, Vera. Welcome. Happy Friday. So, I want you to start thinking about this goal, my friends, because what happened in the course of 9 weeks is incredible. These 6 strangers came together 9 weeks ago. When they came on to the Zoom, they were very timid. A lot were very shy. They were just like one-word answers, sort of like, not really opening up. And by the end of 9 weeks, I swear to you, my friends, these people have changed their life. They have more clarity in their life. Because essentially the program allows us to do this. So this is what I do. Originally, and goes back to Chris Barnett, our dear friend Chris Barnett, the Chris Barnett on Instagram. I did a vision board workshop for his community. And this is where the lovely Vera and the lovely Franny come from this community of Chris Barnett, who's just another amazing human being who hopefully he's going to pop on, guys, as a special guest appearance today. Maybe he'll be here. We'll see what he can do. But we did this workshop. And from the workshop, I offered each and every one of them an opportunity to come and do a deep dive with me. So imagine a pizza pie cut up into 8 slices, and every week we worked on one slice of the pie. One slice of the pie. So it could be health and wellness, family, community, social, passions, spiritual development, education, whatever those slices that are important to you, this is what they did. So every week we would come together Wednesday at 7:30 Eastern, and all 7 of us were in a room. And every week, everybody gets about 15 minutes, 20 minutes to discuss their board. And of course, we had a lot of fun doing it because my main man, Josh Leslie, he created this wheel to spin. And we used to have a big joke about it. And what ended up happening is that that's how we picked which piece of the pie that we were going to do. So every week we get together, we do this piece of the pie. And my friends, it was incredible. It was incredible. These people opened up in a way. There are things that I know about these people. I know about the clarity they have around the most important areas of your life, of their life, that their spouses or their significant others don't even know about them. That's how powerful this was. That's how powerful. Putin Nation is here. There he is. Hey, Josh, I hope you're going to jump on. What? Raging. No, wait a minute. Let me go up here. Raging Dio Night. I'm going to tell you something. I got something for you. I do 52 weeks, but I do it one-on-one. So what I do is I do one-on-one coaching, and I do 1 year of coaching with you, and we do an accountability call every week, and we spend 1 hour together, and we do that for 1 year. So there you go. We can talk about that later. So what's happening today, guys, on the show is that I thought that it would be really super cool to have the students that came and did this program on the show to share their experiences so that you guys can. You don't have to hear it from me. Of course I'm going to say it was great. It was my course. It was fantastic. But I don't want you to hear it from me. I want you to hear it from the people that were there. So they're going to be coming in and off of the show because, of course, most people are at work. So far, I think I've got Kathy and Heather in backstage waiting to come on. But I wanted to, and I hope, Josh, I hope you're going to join us too. Bringing the alumni on. Yes, we are. That was a great name for it. Oh, you are backstage. Excellent. Thank you, Josh. So let's do this, my friends. Let's get everybody on. I'm hoping to have almost all of them come on. One of the ladies is a flight attendant, and she's probably at 35,000 feet right now, so she won't be able to join us. But that's okay. We'll keep her in our thoughts and in our spirits as we start the show. But all I can say for all of you watching today, first of all, thank you for being here. And secondly, I hope that somebody says something today that touches your heart. I hope that when the sounds of those words come into your ear canal, they travel down the ear canal into your heart. with the hopes that there's something, a word, a sentence that you will hear that has a profound effect on you. That's what I'm hoping. So, without further ado, my friends, I am going to bring them all on. First, I'm going to bring Kathy, then I'm going to bring Heather, and then our beloved moderator and
Mr. Leslie.
Mr. Josh Leslie. That's right. There we go. Yay, we're
Hi, Dad.
here.
Hi, Miss
Hello.
Kathy.
Hello, Josh. Hello, Heather. Hello, Kathy. This is
Hello.
super exciting.
Hello.
Yeah.
So, first of all, thank you guys for taking time. Heather, are you at work?
I abandoned my class for half an hour. I have somebody else watching them.
Okay, good, good. Sick beard, Josh.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, guys, thank you so much for being here. I know that Charlene is going to come, and maybe Lexi's going to join us in a few minutes
Yeah.
as well. But I just want to know. I want to get right into it. You know, guys, if we could start. You know, Heather, I'd love to hear from you about what was it like starting the class and what was it like finishing the class?
Well, we did the initial short. Sorry, I don't know which angle to turn this. We did the initial shorter class, and before it evolved into a larger class, and I was kind of like, that was the kick in the ass I needed. Like, I got so excited about it, and then I was like, that's great, but like, I need to do something else. I need to follow up on this and do something else. And then you guys had offered the additional deep dive, which was great. So I jumped into that. And the first week I was like, this is good. This is kind of leading me in the right direction. And by the time we got to finances, I was mind blown. I think that wasn't the week I cried. I cried every other week. But
Yes, you did. And we were, but it was a safe space.
Yeah, absolutely. The finances one, I think, when you guys were pushing me to do like, if I could do anything, if I didn't have to work anymore, if I could do anything for my job, what would I do? And I said the cafe and the bookstore, which is kind of fun. So after that financial class, I started going into like, what do I spend money on? I spend stupid amounts of money on games for my phone. I spend stupid amounts of money on energy drinks. Just outside of the home, I'll grab an energy drink. Even though I've got a case at home, I'll go out, and when I'm out, I'll grab one, which is like $3 or $4. So since that particular piece of the pie, I've got $500 in my savings. And this was what, 3 weeks ago? $500 in my savings, and I'm already putting toward a vacation for my family. Awesome. So you guys have you made me actually dig in, and what am I spending money on, and what is coming out of my pocket that doesn't need to come out of my pocket? What can I put into my savings? So I restarted my savings account. I got $300 in there now because I just put money down for a campsite. So we go to New York in July. We're going to go camping. And my husband's not going to pay for any of it. I'm paying the entire thing myself.
Amazing.
That was my goal.
That was one piece of the pie, Heather. That was the financial piece.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That was just one piece. That's super awesome. Thank you. We're gonna get into it more. Dive deeper into sort of each piece of the pie. But I'm happy that you talked about financial, because the other thing that you said to me, if I'm not mistaken, Heather, was you downloaded your first financial app.
Yes.
Excellent.
It's to track everything I spend money on. It's to track when bills are due. I'm usually good at paying bills on time anyway, but I don't have to ask my husband for money right now because I got money in my savings, and I'm like, yay! It's so exciting.
Awesome. Kathy, what about you? What was it like the first week that you came on, and what was it like by the end?
When I first joined the class, I didn't know what to expect. I was very closed. I was afraid to comment. Definitely, Mastermind has polished my mirror, and I have gained so much clarity. I realized that the only way I can see my path is by making my own path by the end of the course. I can only follow my way if I make my own way. I've learned so much about self-discovery, what my true passions, my true desires are. The most important thing that I realized through this class is that I am the actual source of changing my world, not the world changing me. The voice that I thought I never had, I actually remembered how to use. I've gained so much courage, so much strength. putting actions towards my desires for my life. And I know that that's where they're going to get me, and having my faith is going to show me how to get there. Um, I remembered who I am, and this has completely changed my life. It also showed me that my path is clear and open to endless opportunity. Clarity through community has reminded me of my soul's purpose and my life's mission, which is to share my love and to share my light. I just wanted to say I'm very grateful for Melbellissimo, and now I understand why he has been such a big part of my journey's life. I also wanted to thank the team for being a part of my journey and for creating the space for me to remember where I came from.
That's, I mean, wow. Guys, do you remember what she said the first couple of weeks? I don't think she said peep in the first 2 weeks. This is what's happened.
She said hello. No, you
Right?
said more
Yeah,
than
when we
that.
did the spiritual, she just like blossomed. It was amazing.
Oh, I can't. I mean, Kathy, it's like I'm talking to a. I listen, and for everybody in the chat, I've known Kathy for 31 years. I've known her since I was a teenager. And watching her change and talking like this is, it makes my heart flutter. Do you understand? It makes my heart beat faster because there's this woman who's gone through so many trials and tribulations in her life and has decided to come out at the other end sparkling, this beautiful ray of light. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you for sharing. That was awesome. That was fucking awesome. I can swear on the show. It's my show. Mr. Leslie. Well, everybody loves, like, Josh, you must be some sort of celebrity here because everybody that's writing in the chat goes, we love you, Josh. We love you, Josh. Pretty soon we're going to have the Josh fan club.
I'm the head member. Well, I'll be vice president after Mel.
There you go. See? Yeah. Hey, listen, Heather, I'm his biggest fan first. Josh, tell us a little.
I can only imagine the interesting surprises I'm going to start getting in the mail.
Right.
Now that they have my mailing address.
Correct. But Josh, what I want to know is, you've been on the show, you've watched, you've been here with me, you've dedicated so much of your life and your time to me and to the show. Tell me a little bit about what was it like for you when you started, because you had seen it many times, but what was it like at the end for you?
Well, so first of all, I apologize. You might hear some construction noise in the background. They're renovating the parking garage here, so it sounds like they're drilling on top of my head. But yeah, we're definitely in on the cookies. I think both Mel and I, Franny. Yeah, I guess what I would say is, so I've run mastermind groups for years. I've been in mastermind groups as an entrepreneur, and they're a secret sauce for entrepreneurs, right? They're like a place that you can go, not like the one that we're talking about here, but just in general, a trusted space you can have conversations and kind of talk about the real, right? The real life stuff that we don't necessarily have other people that we can trust to share that, either because they're, in our own families, or there's layers of the stuff that you can't talk plainly about different things just because it might offend somebody or get back to somebody or whatever. You just can't talk unfiltered, I would say. And so I know the magic that can happen in groups. I didn't know exactly what magic would happen with this group, but I knew that, I'm fortunate to have access to you. If I want to do one-on-one work, I'm sure it would have been super impactful to do this process with you, but I believe in doing this in a group, a sort of brain trust and heart trust, because it's transformative in a different way than just talking and being coached.
Yep.
I don't know exactly how to describe it, but it's you get inspired from. So compared to me just sharing, and it would still move me forward and get me clarity, but hearing other people's stories and other people's, desires for their lives, and even just seeing the transformation, right? So take Kathy as a perfect example, how you found your voice and how you showed up here today is night and day compared to 9 weeks ago, or 9 weeks and a couple days. And so seeing that is just super inspiring. We all have our own crap, right? The things that hold us back, and most of them are in here and in here. And so seeing other people that don't have those same limits or have different limits and they're moving past them, I think is really inspiring, and helps keep a fire lit under our ass to keep moving towards what's most important to us.
100%. Yeah, I mean, I think that we talked about this, Josh, that, you know, when it comes to making changes in your life, there's a couple of ways that you can do this. The way that I've always done it is I get myself a coach. So when I wanted to learn Muay Thai at a high level, I went to go seek out the absolute best in the world for Muay Thai. And I went and I did some private training with them. That's me. That's the way that I work. I love that one-on-one attention. And you move quick. The point is that you move fast like that. Because now you really do have an accountability partner. Because now this person is saying, okay, Kathy, Heather, Josh, this is what you have to do for next week. But we're doing this on one-on-one. So really, really powerful. The great thing about doing a vision board mastermind, which Josh, I want to echo your thoughts, is that every week we spoke about the same piece of the pie, even if it was called something different. So let's take, for example, we took, what do we do? Loving relationships. So loving relationships could mean just your significant other. It could mean your family, your immediate family. So it didn't matter what was included. But the point is that we were talking about loving relationships. It was incredible to hear 6 different people talk about loving relationships all at one time. In fact, again, Josh, I echo your words that it provided you an opportunity to look at somebody else's and say, holy shit, that's amazing. Like, yeah, that's what I want from a loving relationship. I mean, you know, hopefully Lexi will be on here soon, but, you know, Lexi was the wordsmith of the group, and she was, of course, on the show last week. But how nice was it, guys, to even watch Lexi's board and listen to her words as she poetically, talked about each and every one of her vision boards. You know, Heather, how much of an impact did that have on you and sort of as a group when you were doing your pieces of the pie, being in a group? How did that help?
Oh, I loved it. It gave me more, I want to say more clarity, but I just feel like I'm repeating myself. So seeing like somebody get so excited about one part of the pizza, the pie that I might not have been as excited about, like the financial stuff. I was like, oh, you know, it's finances. But as I started to go through the week before we had to present the vision boards, and I was like, oh God, like this is terrible. The stuff I'm spending money on is horrible. But then you'd come on and you'd see somebody else's loving relationship like Lexi's. And she thinks this is things that my husband and I do, even community. Things that my husband and I do in the community that's different maybe than what I would do in the community. And it gives me ideas of stuff that I would then want to emulate. So like how she does for her birthday. She does the acts of kindness for her birthday, depending on her age. So this year I'd have to do 44 next week. I would have to do 44 small acts of kindness. So I really like that idea. And that's something I think I'm going to adopt to something that I would like to do. So it's interesting to see like how other people approach different pieces of the pie than I would. Like they approach it differently than I would. So like Kathy with the spirituality, I'm not super spiritual. I'm not super religious. But just watching how excited she got about it was like made me kind of reevaluate how I view spirituality and religion. So, little stuff.
And what about for you, Kathy? What was it like for you when you had all of these people talking about the same piece of the pie? Because I definitely want to talk about the spiritual board with you. Because, folks, if you were there, if you were a fly on the wall, when we did spiritual development, the piece of the pie called spiritual development, Kathy was on fire. There were flames coming out everywhere. You could see the light literally light up the room. Everybody got affected, received something from the passion that she had about spirituality. Kathy, tell us a little bit about, first of all, what's it like to be in the community and sort of see everybody else's boards and how it affected yours.
I think for starters, I realized that we're all looking at the same picture, but we're seeing different images. And it was just amazing to see how everybody shared this, the for example, love and relationships, how they viewed it as one thing, but everybody had different perspectives and different ways on how they want to go about their love and relationship. I think for all the pieces of the pie, for me, it was getting all the different ideas from everybody, incorporating them with my ideas, seeing so many similarities, so many differences, just showing how everybody just so unique and different. It's just an experience that sharing it with the group and seeing everybody else's piece of the pie really makes you think about your actual piece of the pie.
100%.
And it just goes on and on and on. It's
100%.
just it's amazing experience.
Now, Kathy, I want to get to this spiritual board because, guys, Josh and Heather, I want you guys to think about the one board that stuck out for you. You know, like what was that board? But Kathy, I'm going to assume the board that stuck out was spirituality. But is that the one that stuck out for you?
Absolutely.
Or tell us a little bit about what that was like for you.
For me, that was exactly what you said, spirituality. I was free to speak about, it wasn't even a vision. It wasn't even a something that I can speak on paper. I was free and able to experience my spiritual journey that I'm on, and to passionately share it with everybody, and to freely speak about it. That is what spirituality to me is, to freely speak to God. The way that I speak to God, I was able to speak to the class, and through my voice, I was able to show everybody that the light in me is so powerful, that I am so proud to shine it, just shine everything that I am so passionate about, and that is the whole world that involves God to me. Everything about it and everything about what I'm learning is just incredible.
Now, Kathy, I want to provide some context. So, Heather and Josh, I had spoken to Kathy maybe, I don't know, 3 years ago. And we were talking, and I said, hey, Kathy, you should watch this great movie. It's called The Shift, Ambition to Meaning. If you guys have never watched that movie, and for my friends in the audience, if you've never watched that movie, please do yourself a favor and watch it. It's a documentary movie on Dr. Wayne Dyer. It's called The Shift, Ambition to Meaning. It's exactly 2 hours long. So I'm telling this to Kathy, and 3 years ago, Kathy was like, yeah, okay, sure. Like it was just, and I say this, Kathy, because at the time you weren't ready. You weren't ready. This is what we're talking about, my friends, divine timing. I said the same thing to her 3 years ago that I said to her 3 months ago. But 3 months ago, she was ready. And so I told her a wonderful axiom that I heard many years ago: when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And I'll tell you, man, what an absolute joy, Kathy, it was to see really you shine your light. It was awesome. I mean, just super awesome. And I do want to talk a little bit, Kathy, before you go, I want to talk a little bit about that career board, because that was a really powerful one too for me that I heard. But Heather or Josh, what was for you the board that stuck out for you?
Well, I just want to tell a quick detour story, if I may, around being witness to Kathy's spirituality board and how she showed up that day. So once upon a time, my first official job, like where I was getting paid with taxes and all that kind of stuff, instead of just doing manual labor for people or whatever it might be, was I worked at, they called them CAP sites here, so community access programs. So I grew up in a pretty rural area, and most people didn't have internet. Lots of people didn't have computers, and so people would come in and sort of learn how to use them, and that was my job. And so I remember this guy came in. His name was Steve, and he's 80, maybe 82. Had never really used a computer. He learned how to use email and was like so excited to be able to talk to his grandkids and all this kind of stuff. And so anyway, it's like my last day at this job, and he comes in and gives me this little plant leaf and says, "Here you go, a gift for you." And say, "Okay, well, what's this?" And he's just like, "Yeah, it's something I picked up. I used to manage a chain of hotels in Jamaica, and take it home, care for it, and you'll be surprised. Something will happen at some point." And so I take this thing home and water it for a year. The thing grows like super crazy, like it'll grow right to the ceiling. It's like a vine or a weed. I had no idea what it was, right? And so I just kept watering this and taking care of it. And at some point, this big bulb forms on it. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. And anyway, to cut to the chase, what I found out that this plant is a reasonably, it's not a super common plant, called the Queen of One Night. And you have to be there around midnight, and this bulb opens into this beautiful flower with a beautiful scent. But you have to be there during that hour, because afterwards it's gone. And what's nice about, in the case of Kathy, is the flower is in bloom now. It's not going to, wilt and go back. But I feel like that moment of being there for your spiritual board was getting to see something that beautiful if you just opened up. And yeah, so good on you.
Yeah, absolutely. What a wonderful analogy. Wonderful. Josh, I'm going to interrupt you for a second because Heather's got to go. But Heather, I want to just talk to you a little bit about your favorite piece. What was it? What was the one piece that really stood out for you?
Probably career. Because I realized I've been given way too much time to just my career. I've been working overtime. I'm still doing that to a degree. I am learning how to say no, which is something we talked about, and put my foot down and kind of be. Sorry, my husband's opening the window. Kind of be more assertive, and I can't. I'm so sorry. I can't help with that today. I really have to start putting myself first. Like I was joking with Josh. Why am I in my personal time? Why am I rated below the litter box? So I have to do the litter box. I have to do the dishes. I have to work. So why am I holding myself that way, where everything else is more important than myself? So I'm learning now to kind of put my foot down at work. Like, I stepped away for 30 minutes. I don't take a lunch break traditionally. I told him today, I'm stepping away for 30 minutes. You have to get support for my class. My class is texting me right now, freaking out. So obviously they probably didn't get who they needed, but I'm gonna head back out. But yeah, it was primarily career. I think that was another week I didn't cry. But for the most part, out of the 9 weeks, I think 7 out of those 9, I cried at some point. But yeah, you guys going over everybody else's boards too, where they're like, this is what I want to do with my life. And I'm like, we talked about the coffee shop and the bookstore, and that's kind of like, if I won the lottery today, would I keep my job? I want to say yeah for a little while, but then I think I would. I'd leave and I'd do my own thing. So now I'm starting to save up money, and I'm starting to see I can do this, and that is what I'd like to do as my career. That is something I want to move from. I want to move from a rigid 9 to 5. You have to show up every single day. I want to build a team that I can rely on, so I can step away for 30 minutes and not have somebody freak out and text me 32 times. Yeah, career was a good one for me. But I love you guys. I will talk to you later today. I am going to drop off. I do have to go back to work. My team is freaking out.
Right on, girl. Well, thank you for coming.
Bye,
I really appreciate you being here.
Bye.
Josh, what was it for you? What was the board that really sort of touched your heart, had a big impact?
I'm trying to find a GIF that I can pull into to add a little color for this one, but give me 1 second.
Cool.
I just don't know where it's saved. Oh, I see. Just 1 second. Trying to get it to show up.
Because I think what I feel, and Kathy, I'm sure you'll agree, that I think that there's maybe not even just one, maybe a couple boards that really stuck out for everybody. You know, you could really see it with the energy that they put in. You know, I mean, hopefully Charlene will get a chance to jump on here at some point. But I mean, there was a couple of weeks that Charlene was on fire, man. I mean, this lady just was like on it. She was in it to win it. That's what she was doing. You know. So that's why I wanted to have an opportunity with everyone to talk a little bit about how did that one piece, or what was that one piece. So let's see who's jumped on.
No,
okay, Josh, there you go. So what are we sharing, Josh?
So this is a little prop to talk about the one that I think was a most rewarding discussion for me to talk about, which was kind of the friends and family board. I mean, different ones, but let's say friends, right? So I don't know if anyone's had this experience, but explaining your life to the friend that you haven't seen for a few months. I've been in, a situation for the last 10 years more and more where there's a lot that happens in my life in a day, right? Let alone in 6 months. And so you get together with the friend that you haven't seen for 3 hours at the pub, and that turns into 6 hours, and then you just scratch the surface, and then you're not going to see them again for 6 months. And so for me, one of the things that stood out for my board was to say, I bring vacation energy into the lives of my friends, and that the kind of relationship that I want to have with them, or the kind of life I want to design, is one where they can come visit me and basically take a vacation for a week and not worry about what they're going to eat or what they're going to do. And they can obviously go do touristy things and explore depending on where I am. But that, instead of having one compressed meal with somebody for 6 hours where you're trying to, catch them up on an impossible amount of information, well, maybe if you see them for 5 or 6 or 7 or more meals, breakfast and dinner for a week, I just, did that with a couple of people in the Azores as a personal retreat. You cover a lot of ground with people in 2 meals a day over a week. And it's not pressured. It's not so confined. And so, at least for me, I think the friendship board was a big one for just around, what do I currently tolerate in my life, but what am I not willing to tolerate going forward, which is like my friendships are more important than trying to cram them into one evening a year or one evening every 6 months.
That's like, I hope everybody's listening to that, because Josh, I love it. I love it so much. I love that's the way that you want to treat your friends, that's the way you want to have these and build these strong connections and relationships. Let's not do it over a meal. Listen, you want to come and see me? I'm going to be in the Azores. It's, they're having a seat sale. It's going to be $400 for you to come and go. It's not going to cost you a lot of money. Come and see me and spend time with me. That's the best way, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, it may not be possible with all of your friends, but I think that the idea for me is, it's about the people that are special to you. That's one of the things that really stuck out for me, was that everybody was talking about the quality, not the quantity. The quality of the friendship. And one of the lines that we used, if you guys remember, was when we talked about the friends or tribe or social board, we said that the desired end state was, I want to be with friends that support the best version of myself. So I'm going to say that again. I want to be with friends that support the best version of myself. So for all of you watching, whether it's live or whether it's later on, the recorded session, I want you to know that this is the kind of stuff that we talk about in this 9-week deep dive mastermind. This was the social piece, where the theme is I want to be with friends that support the best version of myself. That's, to me, that's a pretty powerful statement. So, guys, as we sort of roll along with this, you know, you may have had one of your favorites, but what I also like to know is what was the most difficult? Because I do something with the SEAL team. So with SEAL team leaders, with Larry Yatch's SEAL team leaders in the United States, I'm a facilitator with them. And next week, actually, Josh, we have a guest. I think you know him. His name's Dan Zainer. Dan Zainer is going to be our guest next week on the Coffee and Biscotti show, and he's one of the teachers and head facilitators of the SEAL team leaders. But one of the things that we talk about, guys, is we talk about things like feedback and responsibility and all of these important parts of our life. But we talk about that if the feedback that someone's giving you is getting under your skin, it's probably because that's the attention that you need to put. It's getting under your skin because you need to make some changes around something. That's why it troubles you or disturbs you. So let's go to you, Kathy. Of all the boards that we did, what was the one that was most difficult for you?
For me, the most difficult one, which was the one that had the most impact, is the one that I didn't do. I was the career board. I actually came to a realization as I was starting to write my career piece, that that's not who I am. At that point, I realized that who I am is where my heart is, and I need to follow my truth. And my truth is not going to be on that piece of paper. Following my heart is what led me to my entire perception, what I would say society expects going to school for. Doing this, doing that is not what I want. And what I wanted was completely opposite of what I was expected to be doing. Having said that, I realized that I need to just follow my heart, and it's going to take me to where I need to go. It's always going to take me to the right place. I also realized that at the end of the day, it's not a quality. I would rather live a quality of life over a quantity of stuff. And for me to follow my heart is going to fulfill me. And the only way I'm going to fill my cups, my own cups, is through my desire to help and shine my light. And that would be where my vision, my desired career purpose has taken me.
Yeah, and I will, just to provide some context for everybody listening. I remember vividly, Kathy. Okay, Kathy, it's your turn. Your turn to present the board. And all you said, and I don't know if you used the word bullshit, but whether
I
think you did. Josh, did she use the word bullshit? I think she did.
She did.
So I want you guys to imagine. So it's her turn to present her piece of the pie, and she just stopped for a moment and she said, "You know what, guys? I started creating this board only to find out that everything that I put on this board was absolute bullshit." So let me take a moment here. Here's the learning opportunity, my friends. The beauty about creating vision boards is not just about getting clarity, because yes, you're talking about your dreams in a particular compartment or area of your life, but it takes a fucking flashlight and it puts a light on all the shit that's blocking you from living the life that you want to live. what spending the time and energy looking at one area of your life, and guys, for what it's worth, you're spending a week, doing this. You shine this flashlight on all the darkness that's inside and says, holy shit, I never thought about my career like this. Basically, all I wanted to do was, everybody told me that I should shut up, get a job, get paycheck at the end of the week, and rub my paycheck all over my sorrows, and that I would be fine. Well, when she said that it was a bunch of bullshit, guys, I literally wanted to stand up and give Kathy a standing ovation, because that's getting clarity. You see, it's not just about, well, in my passions, I like to play the guitar, and I like to play music, and I like pizza, and I like all... No. That's the easy one for some, sharing your passions. But what about when you put on a board, and then you look at it, and you take a step back? I want you to think about this, guys. You're on Pinterest. You're designing your things, or you're on your whatever software you're using to do it, and you're putting some things on the board. Then you stop and you take a look at it and go, holy fuck, this is not me. And if you remember, I wrote a blog about this. The idea of life being like a TV. And I said that in it, I said, are you living on the channel of life that's yours, or are you living somebody else's narrative? That's it. Crew Mel, TV repair guy. That was the name of it. Are you living your life, or are you living somebody else's narrative? And Kathy, what I love about what you said is that you've come to understand that your cup cannot be full unless you are leading with your heart. So Sandra Mio, hello, sweetheart. Happy to have you here as always. Sometimes you have to let your heart lead you, even if it's leading you to a place you never planned to be in. Sandra Mio drops a little knowledge on the Coffee and Biscotti show. But Kathy, that's the truth. You have to fill your cup. And the only way that you can do it is by providing yourself with something called self-love. And when I watched you in that career board going, this is bullshit, I went, yes. I was like, I wanted, you know what the pumpernickel is? Josh, the pumpernickel when the hockey players score a goal and then they do this? That's called the pumpernickel. I wanted to do the pumpernickel for Kathy, because it was like, yes, Kathy, yes. That's exactly the point. Because let me ask you guys this question. Let's say you didn't do this vision board. What would have changed if you didn't do the course? Kathy, go ahead.
For me, nothing. I wouldn't even think,
Nothing.
I wouldn't even care about me. I wouldn't even dissect or even, this would just not be part of my life at all. 20 years down the road, I'd probably still be in the same spot.
So everybody that's watching, Kathy, everybody that's watching, Josh, I said to one guy, one of my students, I used to bust his chops a lot because he did so much talking. Oh, he used to flap in my ear all the time. And I wanted to say to him, like, listen, brother, you need to start following your own dreams. Like, if your objective is to lose weight, then shut the fuck up and start losing weight. Just do the job. Do you want it? How bad do you want it? How bad do you want to lose the weight? Because when you want it bad enough, you'll do it. Bottom line. So unless you bring some attention to each of those important areas of your life, Kathy, this guy is in the same place that he was 3 years ago. And how fast, my friends, when you're in your job and you're working your 9 to 5, how fast, Kathy, does 5 years go? How long have you been in your job?
17.
17. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce to you last week's guest, our movie star, Alexi Fontaine.
Hi.
Yay, you made it. I'm so excited.
Sorry I'm so late.
That's okay. That's okay. We're having a wonderful conversation, sharing with the world a little bit about our journey. We were the sort of the questions, Lexi, that we've asked, and we've talked about, sort of what was the experience like at the beginning, what was the experience like by the end. Then we talked about your favorite board and what was the most difficult board. And so for Kathy, she just had explained a little bit about the career piece. And if you remember, Lexi, the career piece was mind-blowing. She just said, whatever I did, and I this is a direct quote, this is bullshit. I just put bullshit. Super great. Super great. So, Josh, what would have been, before we get to you, Lexi, what would have been your most difficult board to do?
I think the most difficult board for me was around the spirituality slice, right? And the reason it was difficult is more around, we live in a world of sound bites, right? And that everybody wants to put things in a little box and then be like good, bad, ugly, whatever. And the reality is, we've lost, or a lot of people, society more, generally speaking, has lost both the appetite for and the ability for nuance. And I love, the show last week, Lexi, if there was so much nuance in your answers to things that are people are putting in the chat to say, oh, it's this or that. It's like, no, it's this other thing that's actually a little more involved and a little more in depth. And let's actually go, a few layers into the onion instead of just the outside. And so, I'm mindful that all of us, all 7-8 billion people on this planet have a different relationship with God, the divine, the universe, whatever that is. And it's one of the most polarizing things when you actually share what you believe, whatever that is, as a source of judgment from others and whatever, which is very ironic because pretty much every spiritual text is about don't judge others and blah, blah, blah. But for me, one of the beautiful parts of the space that you cultivated and held for everybody is it's possible, I guess, to have a more diverse group than what we had, but we had a pretty diverse group along the continuum of different relationships with God, the universe, the divine, and acceptance of people of like, this is who you are. And I'm not going to try and, put you into one of these little boxes because we're just seeing us for us and seeing the, you're 1 in 8 billion. That's the reality, right? You're 1 in 8 billion.
Yep. You're
not one of 10 million people that are exactly the same. It's bullshit. So anyway, so for me, that was, I would say, the most tender of the boards to share. And I appreciate, both the space that you cultivated and also everybody's tenderness in receiving and discussing that and sort of not layering all this other stuff that we tend to layer, or lots of people tend to layer on those concepts.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Kathy, I know you got to go back to work. Thank you so much for joining us today. Welcome to the Coffee and Biscotti Show. I bet you never thought you'd ever be on the show. And boom, here you are.
There I am. Here I am.
Proud of you, Kathy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy.
Thank
you
you
so
all.
much.
Thank you.
Have an awesome Friday, girl.
You too. God bless. Thank you.
Bye-bye. So, Lexi, I want, you were on the show last week. It was such a, there's Franny, my sunshine, Lexi. Franny, I will gladly take some cookies. She wrote a little comment a while back about how, yes, me and Josh deserve cookies. Yes.
Yes, homemade cookies. Woo.
Yes, I love it. Lexi, so first of all, welcome back to the Coffee and Biscotti Show. We've had a lot of fun today. Talking a little bit about, all the all the interesting things that come up. But the first question I want to go back to, Lexi, and that's about around how you felt coming on, the first week,
Mhm.
and what it was like at the end of 9 weeks.
Yeah. Real quick, Franny, you can send me some, but only if I can send you some too, because I love baking. It's like one of my favorite things.
There you go, Franny.
Gotta be reciprocatory. So, I find myself as I get older, like moving into spaces differently than I would have either as like a teenager or even earlier, like in my 20s. I find myself moving into spaces more so now as an observer. And I'll still talk and stuff, but when I enter a new space, I try to get a feel for who's around me, what their energy is, what their story is. Because, we can give ourselves kind of this illusion that we know a space and we know the people in it. And you can stay in a space for a long time. And if you're not truly present, you don't actually know the people or the space. And so for me, I think back to the first week, and I think that in any space where you're going around people where a lot of us don't know each other, everybody in some way, shape, or form had a guard up. And, that guard could have been leading with insecurity. We talked about Brianna and Charlene and how their journeys, especially recently, had been experiencing things that had really left them shattered and trying to figure out, who am I? What is my self-esteem? And so there was leading with that, but not really allowing themselves to be vulnerable with it. So kind of closing themselves off. And you had all these people who showed up in this space. And what I found so interesting the first week or two was that we all showed up as the people that we were without the clarity, right? So we showed up as people that were leading with what we were insecure about or what we were unsure about, or, pieces of ourselves that we were kind of I don't want people to see that. And it was so inspiring and liberating to watch that just fall away around week 3.
Yeah.
Week 3,
Yeah.
week 4, those 2 weeks, it was a different room of people. Everybody was starting, as those pieces that had been holding all of us back were starting to fall off and fall apart. We were kind of stepping into ourselves a little more. And part of that came with getting comfortable around each other. I think that something that I was reflecting on after our class this Wednesday was, I don't know that I really I'm a talker. I know that's shocking to so many people. But, I'm a talker, and, you and I, Mel, had a conversation about talking with intention, talking with purpose, not just talking to talk. And that's something that, I had been and have been for quite a while now working on in my life as a whole. Just because I have something to say, does it need to be said? Is it going to serve a purpose? Is it going to land with the person that I'm saying it to? But I was reflecting because, the first few weeks, I did feel I was very forward and saying a whole bunch of stuff. And it wasn't intentional, but I am very much that person. When there's a lull or when there's silence, somebody's got to fill it. That's where my mind goes. It's oh, somebody's got to fill it. And that's my anxiety that does that to me in social spaces. But what I found interesting was as everybody kind of started to settle into their power, I wasn't feeling pulled to do that anymore because there was no space to fill. Everybody was taking up their own space. And I think that's beautiful because our world tells us that we're supposed to shrink ourselves. And this class literally goes against that completely in the best possible way. It says, no, you're here for a reason. You deserve to take up space. Stop shrinking yourself to make other people more comfortable. Live your truth, take up space. I love that.
And speaking about, and Lexi, speaking about shrinking, I want to bring on the very lovely Charlene, who is with us. Charlene, welcome to the Coffee and Biscotti Show.
Hi, Fred.
Hey, everybody.
I said shrinking because you've done so much over the course of 9 weeks, and it's just like it's just amazing, at all the changes, But anyway, yeah. So thank you, Charlene, for being here. I know that you basically left work to go home so that you could do this, and you're going to go back to work. So
That's
for my
right.
friends,
All for you guys.
for my friends in the audience, do you understand to what degree we have grown to love each other as a community, as a group? Heather's never taken a lunch. Kathy locked her door. Charlene leaves work to come and spend some time with us. Guys, that's how powerful. If there's anything that shows, that's a testament to the group that we had and the energy that was created. And Lexi, I will tell you this. I want to unpack a little bit about what you said, because I love that you talked about this idea of shrinking ourselves, because holy shit, we do this all the time. Listen, it doesn't matter how confident you are. It doesn't matter what it is. There's always a point. And here's what happens if you don't shrink. Then you blow yourself up. You can't get your head through the door. I'm sorry, guys, but I know a few people like that. And what I loved about what you said, Lexi, is that you spoke to me in a language that I understand. And that's when there's a silence. Is it okay? Because it's a comfortable silence.
Right.
And the fact that I don't need to fill that space all the time. That I can just take a moment and let the energy and the frequency settle as we listened to somebody who was sharing. I mean, Charlene, I want to move to you because we've asked 3 questions so far. So Heather was here. Kathy was here. Brianna's 35,000 feet up in the air somewhere. So I don't think she's going to be joining us today. But
I do have a blurb from her if you want to talk about it at some point. She did send me one because she knew she probably wouldn't be here.
Perfect.
So just putting that out there.
Thank you, Lexi. That's awesome. So Charlene, we asked 3 questions. The first question that Lexi was answering just now was, I want to know for you, Charlene, and explain to our friends in the Twitchiverse what it was like coming into the space at the beginning, and what was it like at the end?
Well, I think all of us at the beginning were kind of shy. I know myself, I'm not one to open up, especially to strangers, and being vulnerable. And I mean, we've had times where we laughed. There's times where we each had our turn bawling our eyes out. And I think that was like close to the middle of it. But as we got to know each other, and we started trusting in the things that we were hearing and the feedback we were getting, it really became a safe place where we can start unloading that stuff that we needed to. I think I used in one of the sessions about being like peeled like an onion, peeling back the layers and all that kind of thing. Because really, if you're not willing to do that and really look deep in yourself to look at, like, I had a lot of trauma I had to deal with, past relationships, things like that. And if you're not really willing to look deep in that, it's not going to help you change. So I think, at the beginning, a lot of us were quiet. We weren't really sure what we were doing with our pies, and nobody wanted to go first. All of us would be quiet, and they'll be like, okay, who's going first? And then he'd pick one of us because none of us wanted to do it first. And then, after the first or second one, we kind of got the idea of what we were supposed to be doing by listening to others do it. And then, by the third, fourth, we were starting to really get confidence in what we were saying and how we were delivering it. And then things started all coming out. Everybody just started talking about the things they needed to. And gradually you could see every single week just people's, posture when they were talking, and, the light in their eyes and their glow about them. You started seeing a change every single week, and we all saw that, and we all encouraged each other. So I have to say, from beginning to end, I'm a completely different person. People notice it at work, my kids notice it, and yeah, it was really nice having this group of people who like have become almost like family, and know that we can share anything and not be judged, and just be encouraged, and to help us move forward, and block those things in our life that are keeping things from us.
Absolutely, and I think that I don't know if it was you, Lexi, that said it. That I think that between was it Kathy or maybe Brianna and Charlene, those were the two that stole the show. As
No,
far as
the transformation from beginning to end. I mean, Brianna and Charlene were the two I mentioned, but honestly, Brianna, Charlene, and Kathy. I mean, like Charlene specifically, it's like a rainbow arc. Like I'm like, whoa,
yeah, it
okay.
is.
Like
It
it's
is.
it's been incredible to watch. It really has.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Lexi, I think that because Brianna's not here, what I'd love for you to do is I would love for you to read the blurb because or else I'd be asking her the same kinds of questions. So please share a little bit about what Brianna has shared with you.
Yeah, sure. So her and Heather both. I'm glad Heather was able to get on here because she sent me one too, just in case. But Brianna said, when Crumel's deep dive vision board class was brought to my attention, I was curious and perhaps even a little hesitant. What was a vision board, and could something like this truly help me? You see, my life was quite stressful. At times, I lacked focus, direction, and motivation. I knew I needed something to change, but I didn't know how or where to begin. Krumel explained that by taking it and breaking it down into smaller pieces of what he calls his pizza pie, it wouldn't feel as overwhelming. Each week, he would have us choose a subject to focus on, reflect, and bring to light what that meant to each of us individually. As the weeks passed, with the support and encouragement from Mel and the class, I grew in confidence. I began to see what it truly was that I wanted with my life and how I could achieve it. I am so very grateful to Krumel for teaching me these new tools, which have helped to bring clarity to my life. He truly has a gift, and given the opportunity, I would encourage anyone who can to join his class and see your vision come to life.
Well, speaking about a vision, my friends, we have a special guest visiting us today. A man who's been on the show before, but a ray of sunshine himself. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mr. Chris Barnett.
A ray of sunshine.
What a
Hi,
trip!
guys.
Hey.
What's up?
Word
sunshine.
words you didn't think you'd hear this morning, I'm sure.
I mean, I haven't heard that said non-ironically in a long time. What's up, guys?
What's up, Chris?
How we doing?
Oh, can
Doing
you see the
awesome.
light in this room? I mean, it's just
It's
full of
great.
light.
I feel very zen just upon joining. What's up, Lex? Charlene, hi.
Hey.
Josh, I didn't even recognize you with the mountain man scruff going on here.
Yeah,
I dig it.
Launch beard in full effect. So
Honestly,
That's right.
it's like a playoff beard, man. You got the Canadian thing going on.
that's it.
I dig it. I mean, I'm jealous. I can't grow one.
That's the first thing I said to him on Wednesday night was like, the beard game is just on point right
That's
now.
right.
No,
That's exactly
it's
it.
great. So, guys, I take it the course went well.
Chris, I can't believe the amount of changing that people have, how much they've changed, how they've looked. They've taken 9 weeks to spend a couple hours a week on themselves because nobody ever does this. Everybody, Heather said something before she left, Chris, which was amazing. She says, I even put myself behind the litter box. Fuck, I gotta change the litter box. Oh, I gotta do this. Oh, I gotta do that. And all I can tell you, Chris, is that what I think of all the transformations that happened was the biggest one for me that hit, which was, it's okay to give myself a little love. it's okay to create the space so that I can give myself some love.
I think self-love is the closest thing, I say this a bunch, but it's the closest thing we have to a superpower. Like when you have self-love and with it comes self-confidence and self-assurance, that's that magic that people can have. That everyone talks about confidence, but what's the root of that, right? Yeah, there's methods that people say fake it till you make it, but the internal monologue that we all have, some stronger than others, is so cruel and so just downright, it's sadistic.
Nasty, yeah.
Dude, if you talk that
Nasty.
way to anyone else, the way that you talk to yourself, you would be alone, and you would deservedly be alone.
Yeah.
Right?
You wouldn't have any friends.
And I think what you're doing here is beyond just, manifesting goals. It's changing that mindset and changing the self-talk and rewiring your brain, because it's been proven through studies that you can do that. You can change that self-talk and you can rewire the way you think, instead of blowing up at yourself for, I don't know, being 5 minutes late, or, you give yourself some grace, some fucking leeway. Excuse my French, but
no,
I mean,
okay.
we
all
give it to
speak
everyone
French,
else. Oh, les Français,
oui.
Everyone gives it. You give grace to everyone else, but you don't ever give it to yourself. And especially, when you have kids, when you have a partner, when you have pets, everything. Everything prioritizes. You prioritize everything over yourself, and I think we need more. The world needs more Mel, I think.
Thank you.
We call him our Yoda.
You're what?
Yoda.
Our Yoda.
I feel that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Josh, I want to go to you for a second, just because what I love, because you're a confident guy, you're a martial artist, first of all, you're the reason all of this happened. I mean, let's face it, Josh, you're the mastermind behind this, and sort of even having a guy like Chris come on to the show is really everything to do with you, Josh, and the connection that you have made. But what I want to ask now of everybody is to talk a little bit about one internal thing that they changed about themselves. What do you think? What of that self-talk was changed within you, Josh? Was there something in particular?
Puppy.
That's a good question. To what Chris was just talking about, I think a bit more grace, right? And that I've shared, I think I probably shared it when I was on the show as a guest, around the Dan Sullivan quote of there are no unrealistic goals, only unrealistic timelines. And there's things that I've been working on for a long time, like a year, to get a software platform out the door. That's the launch beard. I'm like, well, we're gonna grow the beard until the damn software platform's at the door. add a little extra, pressure here. But
how's the wife feel about that?
Well, this is
pressure.
This is the compromise. She needs to be able to kiss me. So I'm like, all right, constraints are good. But I shared this at so I moderate a forum group. So there's mastermind groups, and then for entrepreneurs there's forum groups, which is a space that you help other people get understanding and into what's going on in here, which I think in many ways the group that you facilitated, Mel, what was that for all of us. And I shared, I said, I worked really hard and then my dog died.
Yep. I mean, Chris, you come on and already you drop the truth bombs. That's what we all need. Is we need to give ourselves some grace. Because I think that in whatever arena you're in, whatever self-actualization book or self-development book, we always talk about that we're our biggest critics. and that we're always the hardest on ourselves. So, Charlene, going to you, what was it for you that changed? What of the internal dialogue changed for you after 9 weeks of doing this course? Was there something in particular?
Well, I think at the beginning is the guilt of taking time out for myself. I've been a single mom for so long, and it's like as soon as I do something for me, it'd be like, oh, but they need something. And I really focused that, every week I take time out for myself, whether it was meditating, exercising, reading, doing whatever for me. And I realized that by taking that time out for me, to acknowledge myself the way I need to, even my kids were noticing the difference. I was happier. I was less, cranky if they do something, stuff like that. So I think at the beginning that really started with me and the self-love piece to really take time out for myself. I'm always doing everything for everybody else, for friends, for my kids, for my mom, my grandmother, and it's like I'm forgetting about myself, and I forgot about myself for a long time. So um, that really brought me into the role of the self-love piece. And I think out of all the pies, that was the most important to myself because for a long time, I hadn't loved myself. I'm very hard on myself, and we should be most loving to ourselves. So, even if you do something, you're like, oh, I'm so dumb. I can't believe I did that. Like, I don't talk to myself like that anymore at all. Like, that's 100% changed. I go and do something, I'll be like, oh, it's an oopsies, whatever. I'll do better next time. I phrase things differently. I don't talk in a negative way whatsoever to myself. And I think that was one of the most amazing things that I've learned here is that time for yourself is valuable. It will express the way you feel onto others. Like everybody sees me glowing. I'm so happy. I'm like oozing happiness. I feel like, go around and spread confetti and sparkles to everybody when I walk by them. That's like in the mood I'm in, like those little cartoon, the trolls there, and they burst sparkles to everyone. So that's what I feel like now because, I love myself. I'm taking the time for me. I'm not stressed, So yeah, that's what's changed in the 9 weeks. Just loving myself and taking time for me. And it's important. So
Awesome. Awesome. Really, Charlene, I'm so happy. And Chris, we said a little while ago that there was 6 of us in the room, and certainly between Charlene and Brianna, they were the ones that sort of stole the show as far as making some serious changes. I mean, Brianna came on to she's not here today, but she came onto the show and she was curled up in a little ball. And then last night she was up straight. She was talking.
yeah,
She was like just getting in everybody's like, yeah, like she was in it to win it.
yeah.
And that was some of the biggest change that I saw, from this little curled little ball into standing straight, makeup's on, looking beautiful, just it was amazing, absolutely amazing, Chris.
I love it.
And I
I
think for
love
me
it.
too, I mean, if you're going to have a group like this that's giving you so much love and attention and really listening to your heart and all that, I think it's important to follow through with what you're learning. I mean, it's changed me so much because I actually took all the tools. I listened to everybody's ideas of what they said on how to do things, and it's totally changed me, and I'm going to continue doing that. But
The
I mean,
funny
you got to
thing
take
about that,
advantage of this.
the funny thing, I'm sorry to cut you off at the end there. The funny thing about that is that it was the mindset of not putting yourself first that actually finally let you put yourself first. You're
Yeah.
like, I can't let the other people down, but you never thought about letting yourself down. But that's the beauty of what Mel's doing here. I think these group classes is that he brings people who desperately and truly want to change. Um, I think deep down we all know that we deserve to treat ourselves better. We deserve that grace. We deserve the patience we show to others, the compassion we show to others. We deserve that, even if we think we don't. But in allowing yourself to not let the other group members down who are being so candid and so forthright about bettering themselves, you all pulled each other up. And I think that's literally what humanity should be about. And I'm proud of you guys. All of you.
100%,
That's incredible.
Chris.
You guys are, it's not an easy thing. In fact, it's probably one of the hardest things to do is to not only acknowledge that you treat yourself like garbage or worse than garbage because you at least take the garbage out. It's that you saw you needed to make a change and you did it for yourself in spite of yourself and, against your own worst enemy, which is yourself. But you did it with the help of a team that we're all here for the right reasons. And I think you guys are fucking awesome.
Absolutely, Chris. Lexi, for you, what was the internal dialogue, the change of internal dialogue for you? What was there something that stuck out that said, I'm not going to talk to myself like that anymore? What was it?
In a lot of ways, like this was a continuation of that journey for me because, especially with my medical issues and stuff, like there's always been this difficult thing I've had to navigate because I got sick when I was a teenager. So it's this difficult thing of like, we live in a society that says your productivity is your worth, your productivity is your value. And when you're disabled, you have limitations. I will push myself all day long, but I've done it before and I've landed myself in the hospital. And so it's been hard to like find that balance of it's okay for me to rest. My body says I need to rest. It's okay for me to listen to what my body needs and say that stuff's going to have to wait till tomorrow or the next day or next week because it's still going to be there. And I think for me, this was a continuation of that because one of the hardest things for me, like I had my whole life lined up when I left high school. I was like, I'm going to go get a BFA in theater performance and I'm going to move to New York and I'm going to pound the pavement and audition for all the things. And when the health fell apart, I was in my first year of BFA. And so like I had to leave everything that I'd ever wanted. And, I went through this whole identity crisis and like, who am I beyond these things that I do and like who I am to other people. And so this for me kind of gave me a way to grab back onto building a life of like what I actually want and not being so deterred by like everything societally that tells me that what I do as a disabled person or a chronically ill person will never be good enough. And so I think that's been the main place I've noticed this in terms of like my internal dialogue is just the way that this has rewired me and reminded me that like I can still have dreams, I can still have goals, I can still want these things in my life. And yeah, I'm chronically ill, whatever. Like it's part of who I am, it's part of my experience, and it gives me a lens that a lot of people don't have. But it also doesn't. I feel like societally we have this thing that we enforce kind of subtly, honestly. It's like subliminal messaging. So like if you're disabled, like how dare you dream, because that little sliver of energy you have every day should go towards the things that other people expect you to do. And this has reminded me that like I'm allowed to prioritize my joy. I'm allowed to prioritize passions. I'm allowed to do things that I enjoy. And to me, like that kind of brought that way of thinking full circle for me because I've been kind of on the fence of that for a couple of years now. And this really like helped me remind myself that I'm still allowed to have visions and dreams for what I want my life to look like. And even if I can't do everything all at once, I'm still valid in wanting those things, and I can take the steps that I can take every day, and that is enough. And I don't have to shame myself for being this like perpetually inadequate person that society tries to tell me that I am.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Chris, I was going to ask you a question because when as Lexi's talking, I'm reminded of our journey together on the Coffee and Biscotti show. And you talk about being in this successful place and then all of a sudden this accident happens. And then all of a sudden you're starting at the beginning or at least what feels at the beginning. I guess my question to you, Chris, would be with everything that you've learned so far and that you've come out from this tragedy, what are some of the things that you're doing now to help you with your self-talk, to the self-talk of whatever it is, I'm not good enough, or I don't deserve this, whatever the self-talk it is, what sort of things are you doing in your life to sort of combat that self-talk?
Well, I like to talk, so it's always been problematic for me. I'm very hard on myself. I've always had very high expectations of myself, and I like to exercise control in my life, and losing that in many ways was eye-opening, forcibly so, because I kept them shut for a long time, or tried to. For me, I've tried to. It starts with acknowledging it, or picking it out when it happens, which I'm getting better at. How I react to certain things, how I constantly find myself feeling like I'm never doing enough, or if I have downtime, I should be doing something, or why am I tired? I don't need a reason to be tired. If I'm tired, I'm tired.
That's right.
Yeah, I don't have to justify why I feel a certain way. And you're right, Lexi, it is subliminal, especially in the United States and in the West in general, any capitalist society. Think about when you were young in school. You literally got shamed and made feel bad if you were sick. So we associate not feeling well with not being productive, which means you're not worth anything. And that's just not true.
Mm-hmm.
And even if we can logically acknowledge that, it takes a long time to change those thinking patterns. It's trauma in a way, or at least very akin to it. I call it trauma, or propaganda, whatever you want to call it. But I've been meditating. I've been getting back into, mindfulness, and I'm excited to start breath work with our mutual friend Marie.
Mm-hmm.
On a more active scale. I used to do a lot of breath work. Those of you who know me know my ADHD is quite powerful, and staying still is probably Mount Everest for me. Just stillness and being in the moment, because I'm always in 1,000 moments in 1,000 different universes, and up here anyway. And I'm excited to start doing that, because I think it's going to have a profound effect on, one, my ability to live, like actually be in the moment and appreciate things around me that are happening right now, and two, address that inner monologue that is so incredibly cruel and doesn't actually exist. It's all hypothetical. It's this weird monster we've created in our head. I'll watch a scene that I'll have filmed, or look at a photo, and I will pick out every single flaw that other people don't even see or didn't see. A lot of times people are like, you're literally crazy. And I'm like, yes, I know. And it's because they're like, you're manufacturing these issues that aren't there. They're just there in your head. And I'm like, well, I live in my head. So, I guess we got to figure this one out.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, Chris, because I always refer back when you talk about the mind and the monkey brain, they called it. I always refer back to a book written by a guy named Michael Singer, who wrote a book called The Untethered Soul, and he really does a wonderful job of explaining this idea of the monkey brain, and he calls it an unruly roommate. Like, if your roommate talked to you like this, you'd kick him the fuck out fast.
I'd murder him, yeah.
Yeah, you'd kill him. You'd literally kill him.
100%. Unequivocally, yeah.
Right. But he said something that was pretty powerful, and I use this line a lot. And he said that we are not our thoughts. We are the awareness that we have thoughts.
I think, therefore I am.
Right? And so I love that, and I love that you brought that up, because I think that over the course of 9 weeks, Chris, what's happened to everyone is they've stopped for a moment. They've just stopped, and they've taken the time to spend a couple hours a week with a community of people to gain some clarity, to give themselves some self-love. What this is like a forced savings plan. You know what it is? This is like, okay, I'm gonna take $200 of every paycheck and I'm gonna put it in a savings account. Well, you know what this was? This is the self-love bank account that I'm going to take 2 hours of every week and I'm going to dedicate 2 hours to myself because I fucking deserve it. I deserve the 2 hours a week. And everything that each one of you have said is very true. It's okay. It's okay to be tired. And I love, Josh, that you said, it's true, man. It's countercultural. All of this shit is. You know, Lexi, your value is based upon how much you can contribute. No, how about we get valued on the love and the light that we all I need is to send them to Charlene for a couple of moments and holy shit, they're going to start smiling because it's impossible not to smile. I saw Charlene, I told you guys, at the mall close to our house, and she's playing this track and she's dancing up a storm in the middle of a parking lot in like at 7:30, 8 o'clock at night. All you need to do is hang out with Charlene and you're going to get a bit of sunshine. Hang out with Lexi.
That song was in your head the
form.
day after, too.
Exactly. So I appreciate this, all of you. And if I can, here's what I would say, Chris, just so that I would do this for you, because I think this is, again, all part and parcel of who you are and a testament to who you are and the community that you've built. Because a lot of the people that were here, Chris, came from your community.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a testament to who you are. But I would go and I would do what Lexi did. Chris, when I look at Josh, I look at a guy who unapologetically shows up as himself without any expectation in return and shows his love and shines his love and helps you in any way that he can. And Josh, and I said this for weeks on end, I think I've said it on every show. For the last 5 or 6 weeks, I said, everybody needs a Josh Leslie in their life. Everybody needs a Josh Leslie in their life.
I can tell you, I don't trust anyone, really. Like maybe I can count it on like one hand people I trust in this world. And meeting Josh was a very fortuitous happenstance because the dude that's why you all resonate. You know, we all resonate together. That's why the community worked. It's because you got genuine people being genuine. And it feels weird at first because it's such a rarity nowadays. But yeah, I'll take this moment to thank Josh for everything he's done. I wouldn't know how to do Twitch or be on this stream without him, much less a bunch of other things. So thank you, man.
When I looked, Chris, at Lexi, of course, which came from your community, here was a woman who really is
so talented.
She is truly the sunshine in human form. She struggles with these medical things that she has, these medical challenges, and yet she's on her bed, Chris, on her bed with covers literally up to her face, and she could not but come on. And Wednesday in our last class, show up and said, guys, I'm really suffering, but it was our last class, and I just wanted to be here with everybody. My friends, people wouldn't fucking leave and go out of their comfort zone for shit. And yet here's this woman who would, in her moments of extreme pain, put a little blanket, come on, no makeup, not doing her hair, although the curls were kicking. She comes over and she just lights up our life. Yeah. Just an absolute ray of sunshine. On top of it, she's one of the most brilliant speakers and
the turtle is present, Heather.
You should see her do a monologue.
Yeah, she's brilliant. She's brilliant.
I didn't know that you remembered that, Chris.
That was phenomenal. Like I said to you that day.
Well, okay. while we're on this, I just need to say something really quick. This class and everyone that I have found, I mean, and Chris, honestly, like your community really was the beginning of a lot of this for me. Not just
It's
with
all you
being,
guys. I'm just
well,
a dude.
so you say that, and I think I told you this in messages before. I'm going to take the opportunity to say it now while I know I have you here. Chris was the reason that I started performing again. Because when I had to leave college, when I got sick, there were not people who had illnesses, who had disabilities, who had injuries that were actively pursuing this. I didn't see it anywhere. So in my mind, it was like, I'm not going to do it because it doesn't exist. And when I found you on TikTok during COVID, it changed everything for me because it reminded me that my disabilities and illnesses don't take away from my talent and that we need more representation. So if we need representation, why not me?
Take away.
And
They add to it. You crazy.
but that's my thing is like you were the beginning of that cycle change for me. And honestly, like when I look around at this class and the people that I've met through Mel, and like this class for me was a reminder. You know, you hear the thing throughout your life of like, people are always watching you, even when you don't know it. Somebody out there is looking at you and what you're doing is impacting them. So you should always live your life the way that you want to, the way that you want to embody it so you can empower other people. And it's just so incredible to me because I've sat in this class and I mean, I appreciate all the compliments about like being a good speaker and being talented and all of that. But for me, this has been a reminder of the fact that like these illnesses and stuff don't stop me from being able to connect with people, to make an impact, to like do things that I care about. And so for me, like that's been the most poignant reminder. And I'm so grateful. I mean, that's why I couldn't miss the class Wednesday. I mean, I had food poisoning this week. So I was in my bed with my turtle, like, and honestly, like I couldn't miss it because that 2.5 hours every week made me feel like I had a community, I had a space. And that's been so empowering for me. Like I say this to you every week, Mel, like you don't find spaces that have this level of intimacy and vulnerability and honesty nowadays. Like it's very difficult. And there has been such a sense of safety in this space that made it possible to do this work. And a lot of that is completely a testament to who you are. Because like I've said in class before, a space is a direct representation of the facilitator that makes it. And your energy and who you are and the space that you intentionally carve out for people is the reason that this space is what it is and why you attracted the people that you did. And that could be said for anybody with any kind of platform. Chris, it could be said for your community. It could be said for anyone. You set the tone. Yes, it may be about who comes around and who joins your community, but you embody the example and people follow suit.
100%. 100%. What I want to do, Alexi, is I want to sort of share with you a little bit about Charlene, who, again, was probably the one who stole the show in terms of the biggest transformation over the course of 9 weeks. And guys, I'm very blessed because she lives down the street from me. And so it was really great to be able to have her like close by, and we would talk all the time. And she would constantly say, "Man, I can't wait for Wednesday. Like I'm gonna like take off everything, and this is going to be my focus." And all I can say to you, Charlene, is thank God you're in the world. Thank God for your energy. Thank God for your beautiful smile that lights up every room that you walk into.
Mm-hmm.
You are an absolutely magnificent woman who deserves nothing short of the very best. And you can see the embodiment of the goddess energy in you.
Mm-hmm.
And what it's like when you take that goddess energy and you shine it because everybody feels it. You're such a powerhouse energetically. And I will, if I can take a moment and say, well, this is where my gift is. My gift is I can see your light even when you don't see it yourself. And so I'm grateful for all of you that that have come to shine your light and share your voice. And Chris, for you, you're my dude, man. Like I gotta be honest, we don't get a chance to hang out a lot. We don't get a chance to speak as much as I would like to. But I think that Lexi's absolutely right. And I think you should shut up and take the compliment because you fucking deserve it, bro. You know, they're just putting some of your statistics in the chat, Chris. 200, what is it? 200 million plus
Amazing.
likes on your work on TikTok.
Yeah, dude.
Right?
Just
People have
happens to be
terrible
that
taste.
milestone
Yeah,
today.
I don't know.
Right? Sorry, Josh,
I'm
say that
very
again.
grateful.
I said it just happens to be that milestone, right? Like you can't plan something like that. This is like the odometer on your car that you can't, couldn't have planned that or scheduled that, but Chris just happens to be here on a day that, it's a pretty huge milestone. It's not just about numbers, right? It's about that is a signal, a social signal that 200 million times, no matter how you felt about your work, it touched somebody.
Okay.
So
Fucking huge.
Chris, I want to share something with you because I never got a chance to share this with you. 3 weeks ago, I'm with a bunch of boys in an apartment, friends of Josh and I, and we're talking about zones of genius. And I think I said in my post, guys, when a bunch of guys get together, what do they usually talk about? Vagina, cars, and sports. And I said, what's amazing about this is that we didn't touch any of those subjects. We spoke about zone of genius. And so, Chris, this is something for you because of the time that you've taken. I want to share something with you about who you are and about you being in your zone of genius. There's 3 components to understanding when you're in your zone of genius. Number 1, what you're doing comes effortlessly. That doesn't mean that it doesn't take effort. It means that it comes effortlessly because clearly you must make an effort. You must have your will center, your lower dantian in martial arts, propel your mind to do something, but it comes effortlessly. Number 2, you don't care about the hours because your heart is content. So you'll do something that you're very passionate about, and even if the hours goes by in creating some of these videos that you put out there that are magnificent, it doesn't matter because your heart is content. Even if you're still the biggest critic, you know that your heart is content because you're doing it and because you're living in the present. The third one, which is the most important part as far as I'm concerned, is broken up into 2 parts, Chris. Part number 1 is you are reaping the rewards of the fruits of your labor and satisfying the goals that you have set for yourself financially. So that's one way that you can tell you're in your zone of genius. But the second one to me is equally, if not more important. And this is for everybody. You can see the felt impact that it has around with the people around you. And so, Mr. Chris Barnett, as a guy who's been on this planet only almost 47 revolutions around the sun, who's had the pleasure of meeting some of the greatest martial artists on the planet, who has trained with them, who has swapped sweat and blood with them, I can tell you, my friend, that Chris, you are in your zone of genius. And you are doing exactly what God said that you need to be doing.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm just a guy out here being a dude, man. I don't know.
I
For
think
her catchphrase.
if you blinked, you might have missed it, but I think Chris accepted a compliment. I think it
He
happened.
did.
Yeah.
He sat with it for a second.
I think it happened.
Shut up. I said thank you. All right. I see the chat.
I love it.
No,
love
I
it.
appreciate that, man. I do. I don't think, again, my biggest critic, but I don't think I'm quite there. I think I'm getting closer every day to being in some of those zones. But I really do appreciate it. Thank you.
It's something that needs to be said. And to be honest with you, I can say that about Lexi. I can say that about Josh. And what I can say about Charlene, Chris, is that she's working towards that. Because right now, I could say to her, well, Charlene, you've got this great job. It does you well. It provides for your family. But fuck, you have so many more bigger things to do, Charlene, on this planet. And you can tell. Think about the value add, the impact. She tells us a story yesterday, guys, about how there's this elderly woman that came into the store. And what she did for this elderly woman was, instead of handing her the bag over the counter, Charlene walks around the counter to give this bag of stuff that she's purchased and put it in her hands. And this lady was so appreciative of the fact, she said, most of the times I'm an elderly lady that walks into a store and nobody gives a shit about me walking into their store. And yet here I am, and this ray of sunshine comes from around the corner to give me my stuff that I've purchased. It's who you are, man. You guys have been awesome. I have learned so much from each and every one of you. Chris, I shared publicly that through the course of these 9 weeks, I've had to start mediation. And of course, so I'm now officially a single man again. And
Congratulations.
thank you.
Let's
But
let's go hit the town.
hit
Toronto
the
is
town,
calling.
baby. But I said in this group, and Charlene said it to me the other day, she said, part of the reason why everybody's so open is because you've been very open as well. And this is the exact space. And now I've got some people, I think, that are in San Francisco, maybe. Franny and Vera, they're going to be my wing women, so I'm good.
Oh, God help us all.
God help us all.
I do want to say one thing about the space and the authenticity. You're very open, and that's why all of your guests, not just the people in your class, feel on any level, subconscious, conscious, doesn't matter, that they're safe here to be open themselves. And that's how you end up, on your first Twitch interview for like 2 hours and not realizing it. And also publicly saying things that you've never told anyone except your therapist. Thanks for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, that was a fun family group text after that. Oh, man. Great times. But thank you, Mel, for
I want to
inviting me. You
Well, I'm
go.
sorry.
I was going to say it was just a very touching moment, but it's ruined now. You should finish it.
What I do want to do, guys, is I want to end in the same way that we've ended every class, Chris. And the way that is to be grateful. So, Josh, I'd love to start with you. We ended every class, Chris, by saying one thing that we were grateful for today. Grateful for the class, grateful for, the space that we've created. Josh, I am grateful for this Twitch stream today because. Let's do it.
I'm grateful for today's show because of how everybody showed up, right? So even from the front of the show, people that couldn't be there the whole time, everybody showed up as themselves and didn't shy away from the impact that they make, even Chris. And you know, I think that the container today, right, this show, to build on what Chris said, is very illustrative of the kind of space that you hold for people. And so really appreciative of you, really appreciative of both you and Chris for sort of following my nudges of like, well, just try this, just do this thing. And there's often like stupid logistics and stupid, technology things and all kinds of bullshit that you need to deal with to get from point A to point B. But thank you both for sticking with me on that. And because if you hadn't taken inspired, or in some cases uninspired, with some of the tech shit action, we wouldn't be here today. So grateful for both of you.
Thank you.
If I may,
Lexi.
Mel,
Yes.
Can I hop in? I just noticed something in the chat. Nightshade, your anxiety would not let you attend the classes.
I saw that.
You don't work for your anxiety. I have anxiety. The funny thing about it is that anxiety, nerves essentially, and excitement are the same exact chemical reaction in our bodies, the same exact thing. It's all about the lens at which we look at it. And I call it taking the plunge, because once you step off the cliff, you don't have time to be afraid anymore. It's all about the moment where you're looking down before you step off the ledge that you're afraid. Anxiety doesn't make sense. It's a liar. It's an antiquated chemical reaction that tells us that we will die if something happens that probably won't even happen. Mm-hmm. It's from when we were hunter-gatherers and we needed that, the fight or flight. It no longer serves a purpose. So when you feel that way, especially when it's for something as important as a community that you clearly have just heard how impactful it is on things like self-love and anxiety and depression, I want you to think about this exact moment. And I want you to look at the tattoos you have of my ugly mug on your body, which is still insane to me. I'm so sorry. You're going to regret those someday. And I don't know what to tell you, but I want you to think of this moment. I'm talking to you. You've got all these other people here who are struggling, whether you see it or not. And they've all agreed to better themselves and to help pick each other up. So take the lead next time. Next time there's a round of classes, take the lead. And I'll make a promise here. I'll come to that first class, regardless of where I am. All right?
Can I just add to that real quick, Mel?
Of course.
Mental health is a really big passion for me. I had crippling anxiety and OCD throughout most of high school and college, and still have some anxiety now. And I think one of the hardest things to learn about anxiety is that, your instinct reflexively is to fight it, like to try to push it away, to try to like unravel it and all this. The tricky thing and the caveat to anxiety is that the more you fight it, the louder it gets. So I think that sometimes for me, what has helped me is seeing my anxiety as something separate from myself, right? So it's not who I am. It is simply a visitor that is tagging along with me right now. But it's just that. It's a visitor. It doesn't get to tell me what path to take. It doesn't get to tell me how to live my life or what to do next. But I will say this too. There's a lot of stuff that I do now, especially with the medical issues and stuff, that logistically, if I sat there and thought about like, how is this going to work and how am I going to do this? And like, I would talk myself out of it because there's too much worry there. So my motto over the last like 2 to 3 years has literally been do it scared. Because there's a quote that says, all the things that you've ever dreamed of in your life are on the other side of your fear. And anxiety is a very real thing. But you deserve to live for yourself, not for your anxiety. That doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but you deserve to figure out the things that set your soul on fire and make you feel fulfilled and joyful. And you deserve to pursue those things, even if you're scared. Like, that's okay. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to be anxious. But find spaces where you'll be held in that and where you won't have to fight that so much.
One thing that I've been doing is the move before three. That's what I call it. When you feel anxiety come on about anything, maybe you're out and someone asks you to dance, you're like, I'm a bad dancer. I don't want to do that, right? The moment you feel that anxiety, the moment that you want to do something, but that separate entity, that shadow is trying to dissuade you, you have 3 seconds. And before you count to 3, you're just going to go. Don't think about it. You just go. That's the one rule, right? Same thing when you wake up before you hit snooze. You have 3 seconds. You count to 3 and your feet are on that floor and you're up and out of bed before you get to 3. All right. Try it.
That's so interesting because that's also something that's said for intuition is like, you know, that first 3-second response to something reflexively is like your intuition. It's like a gut instinct. Anything that comes after that is biased by your anxiety and external things.
Dr. Dyer called that the sponsoring thought. I just wanted to take a moment, guys, for everybody that's in the chat. Josh was very kind in sharing one of the songs that I played for everybody in our mastermind. It was week 1 or week 2 that I played it. And I encourage and implore you all to click on the link that's in the chat. It's a YouTube link to a song called You Can Be King Again. Please go and listen to the song. And if I can provide some direction, I would say that I'd like for you to listen to it twice. The first time with your eyes open so that you can read the words. And then the second time to close your eyes and listen so that you can feel the words. So I encourage you to do that. Lexi, if you could please, I am grateful for this Coffee and Biscotti episode because...
I'm putting a message in the chat for Nightshade. Sorry. So I'm grateful for the show and for today's stream because, again, it's a reminder of how many chances we have every day to impact people, to connect with people at a level, even if we don't know what's happening. We talked about this in the class on Wednesday. Like every single thing we do, every time we walk out our door, every time we get on a call or video or whatever, we should always do that with intention and with care and with, mindfulness, because every word we say, everything we do, every interaction we have, it matters. Now, you may never personally get to see the impact of that, but it matters. And to me, this show is a testament to that. But this is also a chance for us to tell everybody about the fact that this class has been that. This class has been, we were coming up with titles for this yesterday. It's clarity through community. It's connecting with people at a level that very few of us get a chance to do on a regular basis, and having a space to be vulnerable. And this episode today is showing that. It's embodying that. It's showing people that spaces like this do exist. They may be hard to find, but they're out there. And even if you don't take a class, even if you don't join the course, you can find spaces like this in your life. And if you can't find them, make them, because they're needed. And I'm just super grateful to be a part of something like this, because I really do believe deep down that spaces like this are what can change the world for the better. And I really do believe that. So thanks for letting me be here. And we all need support. And I think this is also a reminder that it's okay to need support. We're not meant to do this alone. So.
Thank you. Thank you, Lexi. I hope that I told Josh, man, I want to have 3 or 4 of these groups a week. That's my goal. I want to have 3 or 4 of these groups every week so that people have spaces so they can come and grow and evolve and change and give themselves, as Chris put earlier on, give themselves grace so that they can be here and do that. Charlene, I am grateful for this episode of the Coffee and Biscotti Show because
you can see how much love there is for everyone in the room, and not just for yourself, but really wanting to see others succeed. And, there's no, you don't have to be afraid of what you say, just like the young lady that was saying that she had anxiety. I mean, I think I opened up to you guys about something personal that was traumatic for me that I don't think I've told many people. And I think I was like starting to bawl even just reading my title, because I've never opened up to anybody like that. I mean, just feeling so safe in the environment allowed me to let go of that and to talk about it and not feel shamed or judged or anything. You guys were so loving listening to me, and it made such a huge impact on me. And I mean, I had huge anxiety talking to, you guys about it, but it just shows me that I need to open myself up to others and not just keep things to myself, and not be afraid of meeting new people because of anxiety or things like that. Because I mean, you guys have blessed my life so much. And if I didn't take that chance, I mean, I wouldn't be where I am right now. So it was a really beautiful thing having this safe place to be able to talk about things you might not be able to talk to your family or friends in fear of judgment and things like that. So I appreciate all of you.
Before I ask you, Chris, because I'd like, of course, for you to participate as well in our final question of I'm grateful for, because I wanna say something publicly to all those in the chat that I'm working with both men and women because I think I want to create the space for everybody to go and create a space for everybody to come. But there's something about working with men, especially middle-aged men, who I think need this kind of energy the most, because I think the masculine energy has some challenges. And the challenges it's had is that they were brought up in a way that doesn't represent what true masculine energy is about. This idea of being able to cry, the idea of being open to sharing, to expressing how we feel, because we've been taught so much that as men we shouldn't share our feelings. We should do what the saying is and grin and bear it. And I don't believe in that shit at all. In fact, that's where that's been my whole life. When I had my school, it was about, well, Crew Mel's this guy that can punch you in the face really good, but the truth is that he's just a big teddy bear. And that's what it is for me. And I'm so dedicated to this service of telling men that it's okay to be open. It's okay to share your feelings. And if I can say this, guys, there's a wonderful picture of Lenny Kravitz holding up a sign that says, men have been running the world for 2,000 years, and look at the shape of it. Maybe it's time to let the women do it. And so all I can say to that is, what I feel that's important is that we both men and women understand that we both have masculine and feminine energy in all of us. And it's about finding that balance. And so I just want to put it out there, Chris, just before you give us your answer about what you're grateful for today, that's where a lot of my passion lies, is in healing the masculine energy, because there needs to be some work there. So there's my 2 cents. Chris, please share with us a little bit of your I am grateful for this episode of the Coffee and Biscotti Show because.
Sure. I am grateful truly for this, and I'm so glad that I could make it on. particularly because I've been so busy with a bunch of different life things. And it kind of gave me pause and a moment to reflect. And it was a nice reminder, albeit forced, that I've got such incredible support in this world now that I'm very, very grateful for. And people I can depend on, and people that are actually genuinely trying to help. And whether I intended to or not, I made a difference to some people somewhere. And that's invaluable to me. So thank you, all of you, everyone in the audience, Mel, Josh, Charlene, Lex. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, my friends. I'm deeply honored to be in the presence of all of you. Thank you for everyone. Franny, we love you. Vera, we love you. Sandra Mia, if you're still there, love you, girl. You're an amazing woman. So grateful that you came back into my life. And everybody else that's joined us. I know that Two Tums was here from Kingston, Jamaica. If you're still around, always a pleasure to see you, Mr. Hislop. And to everyone, thank you so much for being here. Josh, will you tell us, my friend, where we are going to raid today?
We are. I mean, you've believe it or not, you've been doing this long enough now that we'll be repeating some raids. But we went once upon a time to see DJ Aiden Scott, and so they run Disco Fridays. Little disco to take the edge off on Fridays, and I know
I was just gonna say
right up your alley, Mel. So
little disco, couple of two steps, just to kind of end off the week, my friends. Thank you guys for all of your love, for all of your light. I love you guys. Thank you, Chris, for gracing us with your presence today and being here with us. I hope that we can break some bread very soon and maybe do another Italian restaurant with our friend Vinny Cap. And, you know, the only way that you should go to have Italian food in a private room where nobody can come in, where the food just gets served to you.
I was waiting for the Godfather music to stop playing when we walked in. We go in this back room in this gorgeous Italian place, and this guy Vinny, what do we call him? Vinny sack of potatoes? No, Vinny.
Yeah, Vinny Cap.
Vinny potatoes? No, but yeah, he this amazing like mahogany long table, these black leather chairs with like bottles of wine all over the wall, and he's just like, we don't have the menu, and they just bring stuff out, and I'm like, and this is after hearing hours of Coach's tales of his life, which are I can't. It's like everything he told me should be a movie or a show. Most interesting dude I've ever met, I think.
Yeah. Well, I hope that Chris, I hope that something happens between you and Ricky Atkinson, because talk about a Netflix series.
We got a title fight coming up. You haven't heard about it? He's coming out of retirement, man. We're going at it.
That's it. He's coming out of retirement.
No,
64 years old.
Something's gonna happen. I still wouldn't want to step in the ring with Coach. You crazy? You see him on that speed bag? No way. I'm good. But yeah, no, something's got to happen. And thanks again, guys, for having me. Let me crash the party. And yeah, thank you.
Well, and Vinny was on the show, so I'll flip you the link, Chris.
Oh yeah,
Mel had Vinny on the show. It's a good one.
Oh, I believe it.
It was awesome. And yes, Franny, if you ever came to Toronto to meet up with us, I'd show you the Goodfella experience, just like we did with Chris. We had an amazing lunch. And you know what I love that you said, Chris, that day? I love this. I want to end with this. You said, I just got back from Italy. How is it that some of the best Italian food I'm having in the basement of a restaurant in Toronto?
I still will never know. That was baffling to me, man. Thank you.
Pinnacle of authenticity.
Yeah, Toronto. I don't know, man. I don't know. The world is crazy.
The
Let me
world
just
is
get my
crazy.
passport real quick.
That's right.
I'm hungry.
Maybe we need to all meet in Toronto. Franny, maybe you need to come to Toronto. Vera, wherever you need to come to Toronto. Absolutely. I love it. My homeland. Ladies and gentlemen, we are off to the raid. So next week on the Coffee and Biscotti Show, Dan Zainer from SEAL Team Leaders is going to be here with us. He's a colleague. I can officially say that, sir. He's a colleague of mine that we work together doing facilitation. So I'm very excited for that. Dan Zainer will be with us next week on the Coffee and Biscotti Show. Same time, same channel. Come and see us. Josh, take us away, baby. And for the rest of you, from my heart to yours, have yourself an awesome Friday and an even awesomer weekend.
To the raid.
To the
Love you
raid.
guys. Have a great afternoon.
Peace out.
Bye, guys.